Hello, hello, hello. Make another buddy video. It only matches my artwork on the shirt, but that's okay. I've been wanting to talk about honesty. Honesty is our only solution for the whole world, for every single person. Is the animals are radically honest. Every animal is honest. The animals don't lie. So, but that's also because they don't have that cognitive, uh, the prefrontal cortex that's also involved in lying, of course, because it is an action that is conducted in a way that does something according to a future outcome, so it requires some future thinking, some however, just a little bit into the future, like into 1 hour from now or something, so at least. But real strong prefrontal cortex thinking will look much farther into the future, of course. But yeah, the animals, they don't think into the future, they live in the now. Okay, there's not much of that. If I do this, then that will happen. That's not so much going on. Not to the extent that humans are doing it. And for the papa dog is a little better. So he's quite good with this in terms of, he knows that, but that's also from observing. Just I don't know how he thinks into the future. He knows that if he stays on my recliner chair and doesn't go on the bed, then I will go and get him a cookie. So then that way he will go on the bed. So, and I heard from other people that that is how basset hounds are. They are quite smart in that way. They know this is what happened before and this is what's going to happen again. If I stay here, then she will get the cookie and then I'll go on the bed. Not in terms of not in terms of trying to trick someone or lying or any of that kind of stuff. It's just, this is what happened before, this is probably going to happen again, but not in terms of cognitive future thinking, but in terms of um, learning. It's just a learning process. So, and then if we give into this, then it becomes more, you know, becomes strengthened in its learning effect, of course. So, but with humans, they developed at some point, and some apes have it too. Chimpanzees, of course, are our closest animal relative. So we're all cousins. All animals are cousins. So, but chimpanzees, obviously, they're the closest one on the lineage, or on the between the lineages. So, it was 98% identical DNA, so that's very high, extremely high. So obviously, we have a not so distant, not so far distant common ancestor. But we also have a common ancestor with dogs, but that reaches much farther back. That reaches like 50 million years back. So with the chimpanzees, maybe it reaches 1 million years back. Okay, so something like somewhere in that range. So just to give people an idea, so they get some kind of perspective on things, how this evolved. And at some point in the human lineage, or in the chimpanzee or the bonobo lineage, they evolved in a way where they were able to think cognitively about the future and the future outcomes of things. And out of this development, somewhere down the line, the ego had a wider range of maneuverability. Let's put it that way. So, and that's how the lie was born. It's like, not because we were able to think into the future. If we use that wisely, we can use it for our benefits. What the ego does is ultimately not turning out for our benefits, not for the liar's benefits, and not for the society in general, not for the network of life. So obviously there are many examples for this. The oil industry is like the number one right in your face example of that. The lies they put out there, the propaganda, the talk radio, the manipulation into religious groups, all of this is like, it's an exaggerated version of that. With the higher and higher cognitive thinking, the ego too had then way more options. So, and that's what I see in people, when they don't resolve their inner conflicts and their pain, and almost everyone has pain. I would say every single living being has pain. That's how far I go with my hypothesis. But of course, there are extreme variations, and degrees of pain and suffering psychologically, and some people are much better in coping with it, or some people have better education and they know how to channel that into a different thing, or into a better act out than someone who would channel it into just lying and deceiving. So there are different ways that people cope with this according to their education level, and also according to their genes, of course. And I go so far to say that that's also according to the soul wisdom. But that's not what I want to talk about today. What I want to talk about is honesty, and how infinitely important honesty really is for the whole world. It is our lifeblood. And by honesty, I don't mean, and there's a lot of people misunderstand this. They'll go, I need to be honest to the Gestapo or I will reap bad karma. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay, if the Gestapo comes to your door, of course you have to do what you have to do to protect your loved ones. That's obvious. You have to put ethics over a governing regime anytime. Okay, that's my whole approach to life. That's my entire message, actually. So to learn, that people learn what love is, what ethics is, what compassion is, and to put that over anything else, over any law, religion, social expectations, peer pressure, whatever that is being imposed on you from other people. You put ethics first. You put love first. You put the well-being of animals first. That's what love means. Love doesn't mean I'm just protecting my own species. That's not love. That's speciesism. Love is I love all beings. I put my shoes into all beings' shoes. I understand how they feel. And what I see with people when I'm on the internet, when I'm watching documentary films, or I watch discussion panels or different groups, and I see these people interact or they talk to me or whatever, wherever I am, whatever I do. I learn a lot on the internet about human psychology. So I watched this discussion panel earlier of film directors talking among each other, and for the first circle I watched, there was Tom Ford in there. He already made a couple of films, and very serious, very deep, very psychological. He's an angel soul. He has a message for the world. And the other ones, they were all talking, and I just love Tom Ford. He is amazing. He's very self-critical, and I know how that feels. An amazing guy. And he's very introspective, he reads Lao Tzu, and very deep person, He sees, when he sees things that are true, he gets into it, I totally relate to this. That's what I do as well. That's what everyone should do, But a lot of people, they're so confused, from the media, from the commercials, from the sneaky commercial tactics that are woven into Hollywood films. So they don't even know what's going on at all and how to behave or anything. But there's a golden rule. The golden rule of thumb is, and of peace is, you have to ask yourself, is this going to promote the well-being of the world? This choice or whatever, going under the knife, cutting yourself up, is that going to promote the well-being of the world? No, it's not. It's going to, or in some way or another, it's going to get to other people that information. Oh, you went under the knife. Which surgeon did you go to? Da 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 da. Oh, I need to do it too. And and so you automatically, without even knowing it, you influence other people in the wrong direction. So instead of influencing them in the right direction, where you can say, I don't go under the knife, and it wouldn't matter how many people bully me for my baggy eyes or whatever might, become flabby. It wouldn't matter. See, that's strength, if we can strengthen that muscle. And if we say that, we have helped that other person that was going to go under the knife. You can't even imagine how you helped that other person. You saved that other person's body, and you might have saved that other person's life, because some people die when they're being cut open, when they go to the plastic surgeons. Happens a lot, actually. No one wants to talk about it, because then people wouldn't go there and do it, right? So it's a business. It's a business on cost of other people. But that's being promoted. But if Dr. Richard Scholz, who is a botanical expert a botanical healing expert, if he says, if he helps people, he got in trouble, and that was, I think it's gotten a little bit better now. So people fought back legally, so they opened that up now. But still, the medical industry still has a stronghold over things, over the law. We shouldn't allow that. So, and that's why I say, your own lifestyle plays into this. If we want to help the world, we have to start with our own lives. And we have to say, I'm not going to go under the knife, no matter what. No matter how I get bullied, then you're helping. You're also helping the bullies. If you give in to the bullies, if you let yourself get intimidated by it, and they can see, oh yeah, our tactics, they won, or if they feel like they won, whatever they won over you psychologically, or in a video game, it gives a boost to their serotonin level, it shoots out, I don't know, some kind of endorphin, and they get addicted to this, yeah, and it's a cycle, and they're not conscious about it. And they'll continue because they're not conscious. That's why it is so infinitively important that we become conscious about things, because then we also help the haters. We show the haters that this isn't going anywhere, those insults. Explain to them that that's not a winning situation. They didn't win. They're not winning by making someone suicidal, even though the ego thinks that is a winning of some sort. And they get addicted to that serotonin that's being released, I won. And they completely lose touch with that other living being that's suffering. Was the teenager that commits suicide. It completely lost touch. So that's why, this is so infinitely important. It starts with every single person, with our lifestyle choices that we make. And the most important thing in this is honesty to ourselves. And by honesty, I mean not being honest to a cruel Gestapo or a cruel regime or anything cruel in that way. That's not what I mean. If you want to be honest to the Gestapo person, I use this only as an example, then you stand tall and strong and you look that person directly in the eyes and you say, if the situation allows it, if there's some leeway in that situation where, or where your friend is being helped and brought somewhere else, and you are trying to extend the time for them to help that other person. You're talking to the Gestapo person, and you say to that Gestapo person, you don't make up some funky stories, and that's not what I mean by that. Even if you lie to the Gestapo person about whether your friend is there or not, of course you say, my friend is not there, and let the other person help him get free out the back window or whatever. You keep talking, and you have to do what you have to. You have to say he's not there, and you have to not give in to the Gestapo person's needs for you, the way you behave. You're not going to let him beat you up. You're not going to bow down or say, yes, you're right about everything. That's not the kind of honesty. The honesty only in terms of I am saving my best friend, and that comes before anything else. And beyond that, you say you stand up to to anyone, to the Gestapo person or anyone, when they bring up something that is adverse to existence, and you say with an honest face and with honest eyes, you say to him, speaking honestly on an emotional level. That's what I mean. You say to him, no, I'm not going under the knife. No, you cannot. You do not have the right to hurt me or shoot me or hurt us. That's what I mean by honesty. And when you're with a friend who hurt you or something, you go up to the friend, you look him in the eye, and you say, you hurt my feelings. And you explain why, how. Even if you wanted to make up a story in order to see if he likes you for this or for that or whatever. I've done that myself in the past. No, that doesn't go anywhere. You go straight up to that person and you say to him whatever you whatever you wanted from him, whatever it felt like. Many years ago, we were in the desert, and there was a guy there, a Buddhist guy, and he was homeless. He was living there in one of those camps, hot spring camp, and we were staying there also for like a month and a half. And what I wanted from him is, I was in bad mental state. My dog Ludwig had died in 2004. Was it 2004, 2005? It was in October 2005. So, and it was after we were in the middle of selling the house. It was really, really dramatic and painful. I thought I was going to completely lose my mind. So we finally left with Samantha. We had two Great Danes. Samantha, our other Great Dane, and it was infinitely painful. I grieved for him for several years, and the first year was incredibly awful, because I'd grown very close to him, very close. He was not a nice guy. He didn't like very many people, didn't even like me in the beginning very much. So, and it hurt my feelings and all of this, but in the end we grew very close together, so it was very tough for me, very tough. Just like losing a child, It's like losing your best friend who you have just recently grown very close to. And so we left. We left in the motorhome. We wanted to see the places, wanted to see everything. We didn't want to buy anything sight unseen, so traveled for 3 years in a motorhome, driving through the desert and going to all the hot spring resorts and places and stuff like that. So we stayed in the desert, and there was this guy, and he was living in his car, and he was kind of cute and everything, and I had a crush on him, as it happened so many times. So, and I didn't tell him how I felt. I was hoping that he would come on to me and do something and initiate something, because I don't initiate anything. I'm I'm massively passive in that regard. I don't know whether it has to do with my sexuality is just how I am, or whether it has to do, whether it's genetic, whether it's so, or whether it has to do with the trauma, or maybe all of it combined. I don't know, because I see some women are quite bold in their moves with men. That's not me. Yeah. So when I'm around a man and I have a crush, I do nothing. I do absolutely nothing. The man would have to come towards me, and he would have to do it in a very respectful way, and he would have to make me feel very safe with him. So, and I didn't get that message from that guy at all. I mean, he did flirt with me in some kind of strange, awkward ways. Also, when Paul wasn't there, but I didn't, for some reason, I didn't feel addressed. Maybe that's also my pain again, that I don't even feel addressed when someone does actually make some kind of sort of roundabout move, and they will probably do a roundabout move out of their own insecurity because they don't know, they don't want to invest all into this one move and then be rejected. You know, there's a lot of insecurity in men. I see this also. So but I don't know, he may have also liked Paul. So I got that feeling. So but you know, I had this crush and I just wanted him to do something, to come up to me. And so, but I just couldn't, because I just couldn't tell him how I really felt, because then I would have blown that open, and my deepest wish that he would come on his own towards me would be canceled out. Then it would be canceled out, and then I would feel like, oh, if he comes onto me now, then it's maybe out of obligation, or that's out of a different reason, or whatever, or to just, yeah, make me feel not so bad, or or it's just completely over with and he'll avoid me, or you know, all of this insecurity, we women have it just as much as men have it, of course. And I also felt like I wanted to be liked, you know, I wanted to be wanted. I needed that approval and all of these things, you know, and I wasn't directly honest with him about how I feel. I was like acting kind of strange around him, and I was easily hurt, and because I felt like I put so much focus on him and how he would act towards me and all of this. And he had a girlfriend somewhere in Asia, and I was already jealous of her, and he didn't seem to pick up on my jealousy or anything, or he didn't come up to me really and say, come on, let's talk about it, what's going on, because maybe he was nervous or insecure about something. And so I don't know, but so it just ended very, very depressingly. The whole thing. We went to Las Vegas for a couple of weeks to get away from there, but then we came back to that same place, which I didn't want to do, but Paul wanted to, because he needed the hot springs, and I was really worried about this, going back there and paying for whole months at that RV park, and then of course I had to leave there, and we didn't get our money's worth, and because it ended so badly, because I wasn't straightforward with him. So that was in 2005. I have grown tremendously since then. So, tremendously. I'm not even the same person anymore. So, then what happened was I finally, I don't know, after another week, after we had come back to that place, I finally said to him how I felt, but it still wasn't like really a real open, honest conversation I had with him. I saw him in the pool, and I finally said, he's finally picked up that something wasn't right, and he said, so what's going on? And I said, it was very hard for me to bring that out. I finally said to him, I have a crush on you. And he said, so what do you want me to do about that? And then I said, nothing. And that was not honest. I said nothing because I was afraid. I was afraid of rejection. I was afraid of the consequences also, maybe. What if he says yes? Then how is Paul gonna feel? And it was a horrible situation, really horrible, bad. You can't do anything about this. I said, no, it's my own problem. I have to deal with it. And he acted very funny, strange after that towards me. Very, very strange and weird and nervous and all of this. And it was all bad. And I didn't know. It was all terrible. And so looking back on that, at some point, there was a group of students coming, and he immediately picked himself up the prettiest of all the girls, and he started flirting with her. She didn't have a boyfriend, and she wanted him, and it was a clear thing, and there was nothing to hide. There was nothing to debate over. There was no second thought or anything. For them it was like clear. Okay, they were flirting and it was all good, and they probably made love in the back of his SUV or whatever, and they flirted heavily in the pool, and I didn't go in the pool. I didn't even want to be there. I knew it was going to be so painful for me. Yeah. And my husband rubbed it in, He's very klutzy in that way. He was in the pool with him, and he'll come back to the motorhome and say, oh, they flirted, and she was bouncing her boobs, and she was all excited, and wow, what a hot babe. And I thought that was so incredibly insensitive of Paul towards me also. It was so insensitive how Paul acted towards me, and he knew about my insecurities, and he should have known. We've known each other for a long time. He knew that I also needed to be liked, and he never really showed me that he liked me. When there were other women, he would always talk about them instead of me. He stayed with me, of course, because he didn't feel secure enough to flirt with them, because he felt like there would be no chance for him because he has skinny legs and all of that. So yeah, he stays with me but talks about other women, and that's also why I, fell in love or had a crush on the other guy. So looking back on this now, it's like I was living a lie with that guy. I was kidding myself. I wasn't honest. I wasn't even honest to myself about it. What do I really want? I think I didn't really want that guy. What I wanted is, I wanted to be wanted. That's what I wanted. And I needed a very secure man to show me that. And then I would really fall in love, I guess. If there's a real secure man to show me that he loves me, I would really fall in love. And I was thinking earlier today about this. I was thinking about Teal Swan's workshops and how most people are opening up to her and how beautiful that is. And even on her Facebook page, people opening up to other people and they're helping each other. I think that's very beautiful, almost like a self-help situation, but with nobody above anyone. We're on eye level. It's beautiful. So I think this is great. So I participate with this off and on, and I help others and they help me, and whenever someone talks about their own issues openly, that helps me, that helps everyone else. So it's that kind of honesty what I'm talking about. So earlier I was standing there, I was thinking how amazing that would feel, to be really, really seen by someone. And so in the desert, I finally snapped. I felt disrespected by everyone. I felt not seen. I didn't feel understood. My needs were not met at all. I was crazy because of the grief. I mean, everything was jumbled up. And I finally packed up some stuff. I packed up a backpack and I set out on foot to the other community where I was hoping someone could take me to Las Vegas and work and get a taxi and go to the airport and go back to my parents. That's what I wanted to do. So it was just a backpack, just leave. And that was also the only way I would be able to leave Paul, because otherwise he would not let me leave. We've been through this. He would literally hang on to my arms. And then there's no way I can leave. I can't break someone's heart like that. There's no way. So I decided I'm leaving. I said goodbye to Samantha. He took Samantha for a walk. I said I needed to do something. He took her for a walk, and I packed up my backpack, and before they were back from their walk, I set out on foot to leave for good, because I thought I can't handle any of this. I need to see a therapist or whatever, or go back to the center maybe, or go see Birgit. Birgit was still there. I wanted to see Birgit again. And Birgit and we helped each other in her primal room. So as I was walking down the street, he came running after me, and I said, I'm leaving, I'm suicidal, I don't know how to proceed with this. It all hurts, it all burns. And I finally packed it all out to him. I told him how I felt about that other guy. I said it all to him. To him I was able to be completely honest. It was painful for him, but what can I do? I had to be. That's better than to be lying. That's better than to be pretending something. So it's better to say, yeah, I did have a crush on that other guy, even if that hurts your husband. So you have to do it, because it's the truth, and this is what's happening. You have to be honest about it. You have to say how it feels. And you also need to say, I didn't feel seen by you. I didn't feel wanted by you. I didn't feel understood. I felt judged and all of that. I felt alone. We need to say this to the other person. So then he said, okay, then let's leave. Come back with me. We're going to leave that RV park and we'll move on. Go to the other hot spring places. And I finally said, okay, we lost money there, but we didn't get that back. But so we left. I didn't even say bye to anyone. They were all not very nice to me. They were all full of crap, all of those people. But I still wish them the best. So we just said, I think we just said bye to the host. And he's a sweetheart. I hope he's doing well. And so we left and never came back there. And so when we got to that other hot spring where nobody was, that was just wild. We had it for ourselves. I started to feel better. I was listening to Beethoven all night long. I had it on real loud. And the Seventh Symphony was saving my life, listening to that. Because it said to me, there are worlds out there way beyond and above all of that petty self-image way of thinking. And that's when I became aware I was totally not honest with myself. I was pretending something. I wanted an outcome. I wanted to elicit a specific reaction from that guy. I wanted him to like me. I wanted him to show me that he liked me, that he wanted me. And it was completely wrong. And even if he did, I was too afraid to be rejected. So today, I'm not afraid to be rejected anymore. I made a huge improvement because today I know what's the worst that can happen. I mean, if we're in denial, then we're very vulnerable. If we're not in denial anymore, if we become honest to ourselves, we're not that vulnerable anymore. If I'm honest to myself, what do I want? I want this person or that person. I go up to this person, like let's say on the internet. I get rejected, and then what? Then I sit with it in meditation, and I cry. And then I become even more acquainted with myself. I find myself even more. I find that what I really am, the inner child, the real person, the artist, the clown. And being a clown is truth. It's like what Jonathan Mises said, you go through the valley of ridicule, you go through it. I call it the ego dissolution funnel. I made it. This painting here is about, that is my ego dissolution funnel. Okay. I stand there and I fall. There's the arrow. I fall through that ego dissolution funnel. I end up in the canopy of a tree in the Amazonian rainforest. It's just a symbol for, I let myself fall. I let the self-image fall. Whatever I thought I was, I let it fall. It ends up in the crown of some palm trees, and that's beautiful. So, but that's just an idea. It's just an image. I saw a scene like this in a movie where a woman was shot through the roof of an airplane, because it blew apart and she was sucked out to the roof because of the air pressure and shredded apart in, I don't know, way up in the sky and or slammed down to the ground and be slammed into pieces. So when I saw that scene in that one movie, that scene wasn't meant in that way, but to me, my own brain saw that scene as a symbol of the dissolution of self-image. Whatever she was before that accident, it didn't mean anything. It just, when you're close to death, or when you know this is a sure death, and you have a few seconds to where your brain is still functioning, your body still has vital signs going, and you know this is the imminent doom. I'm flying through the air, I'm going to be slammed down. As you're falling, you'll probably have a life review. That's what a lot of people have. And in this life review that just plays out for a few seconds, none of that what you were before means anything. The self-image that you have established, the plastic surgery that you had gruesomely gone through in order to look pretty, it doesn't mean anything anymore. So I find that very symbolic for the dissolution funnel of the ego. So that's why I painted that. And it's sad and it's painful and it's gruesome, maybe also. It's maybe also very scary. But that's where it goes. That's also the value of ridicule. She may have had real pretty clothes on with high heels. She ends up with her belly hanging in the canopy of a palm tree, and there go her escada clothes, and partly shredded, the shoes still on her feet, the stilettos hanging there from the palm tree. Very symbolic. It's like it questions the stiletto shoes, it questions the self-image. Stiletto shoes in general are total crap, in my view. It's BS, that's what it is. It caters to a male fantasy. Not because I'm a radical feminist. I am a feminist, but not a radical, not a militant feminist at all. I'm for equal rights for everyone in every respect, in every niche of life. But the stilettos are women say, oh, it's my expression, it's my freedom. No, it really isn't, because you are catering, you force your poor feet into these horribly shaped shoelaces, like a Japanese child that has her feet casted in some kind of bonsai tree template. This is what they do. There are tribes in Africa too that do those kind of things with people. That's horrific, and we do it in this culture where we actually call it freedom. So no, that's not freedom. No. The moment you are shackling your own bodies, that's not freedom. That's a lie. You want to be liked. You want to be liked on all costs. That's how far these things go. They go very far, these people. They go sickeningly far. We got anything from A to Z on that scale. How far people go to be liked. And they will be in that same unconscious state as I was with that guy in the desert. Wanting the guy in the desert, wanting him to want me, couldn't even be really straightforward about it. I wanted to be wanted. That's more than anything else, and that's what a lot of us women do, whether we admit to it or not. Some of them have buried that deep down and have stepped on it. They have locked it away, but it's still there. You still want to be wanted, no matter how aristocratic and how austere your outside facade is, dressed in all black and with Armani suit or always the same old, same old. It's getting boring after a while, so Tom Ford is going a little step further. And Roberto Cavalli. And Vivienne Westwood, of course, number one. So. But, the ego is very smart. The ego will figure something out. You can also be egoic in the clothes of Vivienne Westwood. That can happen too. So, not only in Armani suits or in who else do I not like very much? I mean, I respect all of them. I think it's good. They're creative. It's good. I'm just giving my honest criticism on some of those. It's just not. I'm just not an Armani fan, and just not into. I'm not into Stella McCartney, although I 100% support her, because her clothing is vegan. The style is the creation is the artistry or the design doesn't speak to me, so it's too austere for me. Or Jill Sanders, so I think she's actually German, Jill Sanders. So I don't think she's related to Bernie. So yeah, it's the austere, whatever my mother wears, it's not my style. So. But that's my personal thing. But yeah, but whatever our style is, whether we are into bubblegum style as I am, or bubbly, I like bubbly, or whether they are into austerity and CEO type of facade, whatever it is. The lady in the movie, CEO type, some kind of tax consultant or whatever. Something really boring, bureaucratic, something very uncreative job with designer clothes, and she ends up in the canopy of a tree. I'm not laughing about this, it's just that it's just symbolic about, it makes you, if you're still alive then in the tree, and you have a couple of more breaths to take in severe pain, physical pain or something, or maybe you're even in so much shock you don't even feel anything, but You know, you might have another hour before the body turns itself off. You know, as you're hanging in the canopy of the tree, whipping slowly back and forth in a nice tropical breeze near the ocean somewhere, or near the Amazon River. A lot of things will go through your mind, you know, and a lot of questions will come up. The questions you were never allowed to ask, for that your fundamentalist parents never allowed you to ask. Those questions, they will force themselves through this time. They will prevail, those questions. But then it's too late, you know. You could have asked those questions a lot sooner. Would have probably saved you from that catastrophe. But at some point we go through that ego dissolution funnel. For most people it comes at the very hard, harsh end of their lives. And for some people it comes sooner, if we are willing to sit down in meditation. You know, that's why they always say, you know, if today is your last day, how would you live it? How would you live that day? Would you continue as the CEO in your stiletto shoes with that harsh facade and that judgmentalness and all of that? Or will you take those crappy shoes off and recycle them? And recycle the brass and these terrible Victorian Secret unhealthy skin pinching body imprisoning underwear. Throw that away, man, woman. The last day, you know, I want to enjoy my last day. And I want to live it fully. And if someone is there, you know, if I see someone in need, I'll rush over and I have nothing to lose. You can even jump into an ice cold pond. Barefoot, without a bra. You rescue that hedgehog, I have done it. So I do it all the time when I see a living being in need. I've rescued hedgehogs from drowning. I have rescued salamanders, insects, human babies. I have called for help for puppy dogs. I do this already. I want everyone to do it, not wait until you have only one day left. But don't do it for good karma. You know, we do it because you feel that other living being. You know, you feel his despair. You do it to help. So that's living. You put Tom Ford's Violent Blonde on, whether you're a man or a woman, doesn't matter. You put that on, it's gonna smell good to men too. You're gonna put that on and you're gonna really enjoy that. You're gonna make yourself a caramel drink. You put some caramel perfume oil on, single notes, and really live. And you go and you eat that cupcake, and or the whole cheesecake, the entire cheesecake is big and this tall. You eat that all. He spent the next 3 hours eating that and watching ASMR videos or watching Tom Ford and being grateful that he's there. A soul like that exists. And I was thinking earlier, how amazing would that be if a man like Tom Ford would hug me like this. I don't mean necessarily romantically, just a soul like that hug me and really like me for whom I am. The clown. For most people, including my brother, I would not be acceptable to be shown on his side, neither as sister nor as anything else that people would interpret. He only did that once in LA because no one knows him there. So, but I have this feeling he wouldn't show himself with me in Berlin, for example. Anywhere, wouldn't go anywhere with me. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. But I know that Tom Ford would go with me to anywhere, to any cafe in London too. And he wouldn't care if someone thinks something funny. If someone could think that I'm his sister or his wife or whatever. He wouldn't